So it's a beautiful evening that we're all here, and we've made a choice. We've made a choice to be grateful. And it's with heartfelt gratitude that I welcome Mike Michnovicz as a senior ministerial student, longtime practitioner, and he and both Sharri Johnson, who I've known, and my heart is just so full. Sharri Johnson's one of our outreach practitioners in Nebraska. And so Mike and Sharri and I had a conversation about a month ago and said, let's give thanks and raise the roof off. Let's give thanks even more than we have before. And to say that in our lives, even more than we have before. So I'm grateful for Mike putting together the program tonight, and along with Sharri and the wonderful practitioners. Mike will be talking about homecoming, and Sharri will be talking about the 3 forms of gratitude. And I know that we all have so many forms of gratitude. So I'm so grateful. Thank you for being here, Mike.
All right. Thank you. And get a little bit unraveled from the guitar. And I'm glad that we have this nice, intimate setting here. Could be traveling. The Thanksgiving day, I think, in fact, today is probably the busiest travel day of the year. I know that Thanksgiving is the busiest travel period, and I think today is probably the busiest day. It's always wonderful to see at the airport in the arrivals gate when people are meeting each other, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, old friends. It's just so wonderful to see those folks meeting each other, embracing in love. And Jane's trying to tell me something.
Move your mic back a little bit.
Okay, turn it down a little bit. But as a culture, we give each other Thanksgiving. I believe that we give each other the holidays in order to help make ourselves feel better. You know, it's a cold time, and I think that it can be sometimes a little bit lonely for some people, so we do give ourselves Thanksgiving, I believe, to help ourselves feel better. And really, who does not want to feel better? I'm trying to time myself here so I don't go over. And tonight's talk, like Reverend Dee said, is about homecoming. And I want to think that our homecoming is really part of the homecoming for Tessa and Sharri and Suzanne and all of the other distance people that we have, because our community extends beyond these walls. It extends beyond the city. It extends beyond the state. Sherry's from Nebraska. Tessa's in Arizona. This time she is going to be moving around, and we have several others. Out of all the practitioners that we have, 4 live or spend a good deal of time outside of New Mexico. So tonight is a homecoming, I believe. It's a virtual homecoming, if you will. And it's pretty exciting. I think that's part of the reason I chose this topic, because I think it's pretty exciting to have this community that extends way beyond just these walls. So welcome to all the members and all the guests far and near. Homecoming. Home is where we make it, where we choose to make it. We were all born into a biological family, but we also have families of choice, and I believe that our spiritual family here is a family of choice. And home is also where the heart is. And I think oftentimes when we are choosing a spiritual center, a community, oftentimes it's what we see that attracts us. It's either the building or the message or the belief system that they have, but there's what really makes us stay. What makes us stay with the community? And I think those are things that are from the heart. When our friends become our family, and when our friends become our support system, that's because of our heart. That's because of our feeling. Then when it comes to our beliefs, we have something sacred that we create with each other. We come here to have a spiritual practice, and we learn and practice this presence of God with each other. And Ernest Holmes, one of the core beliefs that we have in this movement is that the highest God and the innermost God is one God, and that this God is personal to those who have this indwelling presence in them. This presence is very, very powerful, it's very, very important, and it's very, very personal to those who have it. And we make a special deal out of building that presence, courting that presence, and making it a part of our daily practice. So thanks for coming here to Thanksgiving service with us tonight, with your spiritual family. And I know that tomorrow many of us will be going to our biological families to go have some Thanksgiving dinner. And coming home isn't always easy. Sometimes we might, I know that I am, and some of us are a little bit outliers, and sometimes it's not quite perfectly easy to fit in with some of the other thoughts and beliefs that they have. But that brings me to an example. Jesus told this story about a man who had been possessed by a demon. You know, back then they really didn't know about psychology. The man was severely psychologically deranged, or certainly unpleasant. And they asked Jesus to please exorcise this devil. So he did, and the man became calm and peaceful. And this man, after Jesus cured him, he wanted to go with Jesus, to follow him as his spiritual leader. And Jesus said, no, go back home and show them what God has done for you. Show them what God means to you. And of course, if this man was deranged and very unpleasant, he probably was not very well welcomed by his family. But imagine that when he came home and he was calm and happy and peaceful, they say that's really a miracle. So I think that the lesson for us is that even if we have difficulty with certain things in our life, we have the ability to be calm and peaceful. And we don't have to go and talk like some of our maybe siblings do about how we believe or what we believe. If we show up to these family gatherings and be calm and peaceful and happy, then they'll see the miracle in us. And I think that's a good thing to do. We've all had times in our lives when things aren't peaceful and happy, where we didn't feel good. And I just want to quickly say something that I've said before sometimes, and that's that I had this experience when I was working, and I was also in Practitioner 2 class, and I was working on this project, and when I delivered the project out to the plant, it didn't work right. And we were up till 2 or 3 in the morning, came home, really dejected, down that this thing didn't work. You know, I'd spent so many months on it. And the next morning, I got this call from the project manager who told me that I was the long pole in his tent, meaning that of all the problems that he had, I was the one that had the greatest difficulty for him. And as I thought about this, and oh, woe is me, but then I thought, I have to get myself to a peaceful place. So I breathe and think peace, breathe some more, and think peace. This was my standard practice, and eventually I did get to that peace. And of course the problem wasn't solved, but I was able to get cleaned up and headed back out to the plant. And on the way out there I got this idea, and sure enough, I pulled out this one feature that was giving the problems, and the rest of it worked fine, and it served the rest of the project the whole time. So I don't say that getting peaceful and practicing these science of mind techniques will cure your problems, but it'll, when you make yourself happy, when you make yourself feel good, then you give yourself the space to be able to get to that point. And I would like to say that this practice of getting yourself happy is almost eclipsed by gratitude. Gratitude is such a powerful practice, and we're going to do a gratitude practice now. You may see on your chairs or somewhere near your chairs, and if the ushers would, maybe we have some pens. If people don't have pens, we can get some pens to you. Just write 1 or 2 things that you feel grateful for in your life, and then a little bit later on, we're going to pass a second basket. We're going to have our regular collection, and then afterwards we're going to pass a separate basket, put those cards in the basket, and then the practitioners after that will get up and they will share something that they're grateful for, and then just pick one of the cards out of the basket and read that card. So not everyone's card is going to be able to get read, but we're going to do our best. And that's about it. Let's think about what we have. Things like I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my world. I'm grateful for my spiritual practice. Just use your imagination and your feeling. Use your heart to search into something. We have another pen needed up here. So I'll give you just a minute to think about that card, and then I'm going to get off and make room for Sharri. But I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope your card gets read.
So one of the things I'm grateful for is that y'all live there and I have a chance to participate in this wonderful community. What I want to talk about tonight is gratitude. It's a word we hear a lot. But what is gratitude? It sounds like a simple question, but I don't have a simple answer. Because I believe there are actually 3 kinds of gratitude, 3 forms of gratitude. The first is what I call mandatory gratitude. That's merely saying thank you for something that we've received, whether we really appreciate it or not. I mean, who amongst us has never been forced to offer thanks for something we didn't really want, tell Grandma thank you for those plaid socks with the purple balls on them. This form is not really gratitude. It's just a social convention. It's polite, but it's not connected to your heart at all. The second form is what I call conditional gratitude. This is probably the most common and the most comfortable form of gratitude because it arises naturally in response to a stimulus. It's a conditioned response, just like Pavlov's dogs. Grandma gives you $50 for your birthday and you're so happy with the gift that your heart just swells up with gratitude and you offer her effusive thanks. This is definitely real. It's genuine gratitude. It's sincere, but it's automatic, like breathing. It requires no decision, no effort, no shift in perspective on your part. The third level of gratitude, I believe, is genuine thanksgiving. And I believe that saying thanks and thanksgiving are 2 very different things. Saying thanks is just something you do, often whether you want to or not. But thanksgiving is something you feel. It's the feeling of a heart overflowing with gratitude and joy. It just bubbles up out of a heart bursting with love and washes over everything and everyone around you like a fizzy champagne fountain. What's more, the more you let Thanksgiving flow through your heart, the greater the love and joy become that feed it. And the deeper that overwhelming gratitude and satisfaction reach into the nooks and crannies of your being. You no longer give gratitude, you live it. You discover that it is the root of compassion. It is the surest way to free yourself from suffering and the path that leads most surely to peace. Gratitude, true gratitude, is for me a spiritual practice. And this is not a new idea. It's been around for thousands of years. 2,500 years ago, the Buddha said, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For even if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And even if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And even if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." Jesus, the master teacher, gave thanks before every miracle he performed. Every miracle he worked, he started by saying, "Thank you, God. Thank you, Father, for you have heard me." Meister Eckhart, the 13th century German mystic, said, "If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will have been enough." G.K. Chesterton, the English writer and philosopher, said, "I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder." My grandson Alex's grandma, that would be me, said being thankful for what you have blinds you to what you don't have. Gratitude is the most effective way to see past the race consciousness fear, the false evidence appearing real, that comes between us and true abundance, genuine prosperity of heart and mind and spirit. As we recognize and appreciate and give thanks for the blessings in our lives, we push all sense of lack out of our consciousness, and the blessings multiply. We begin to live from an attitude of gratitude, and suddenly blessings appear on every side. The blessings are already there, but we don't recognize them because we're looking with our eyes instead of with our hearts. I invite you to redirect your vision through a grateful heart and see how magnificently blessed your life becomes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Sharri actually is the one who suggested this song when we were putting this service together. She said she went out and she was riding Blue Susie. She has a adult three-wheel trike. Well, of course it's three wheels, but it's an adult tricycle. She calls it Blue Susie, and she came home singing the song. She called me right away and said, "We have to do this song." So I got a Doris Day, I got a Rosemary Clooney version of this, and I just loved it. It's called Counting Your Blessings. When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. I think about a nursery and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. So when you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings. I think about a nursery and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. And if you're worried you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, fall asleep counting your blessings.